So there are areas in Smyrna, that where there's need, where people are food insecure, where they're struggling to make ends meet, where they're working 2 jobs. And of course, now with the virus, we've seen a lot of people who have lost those jobs, and we're just praying that they come back. But just realize the need is there.
Hey everybody, it's Sue with Peterson Partners, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services here in Smyrna. Today I have the honor of speaking with Alan Nicely, who is the director over at Tillman House Resource Center. Alan, please, first of all, welcome.
Thank
you. So happy to have you here today. Can you tell the folks, what do you guys do over at Tillman House? You have so many programs going on. So I'd love to hear what you do, kind of how you're operating in this current climate, and then what's in store for us this summer.
Tillman House came from Tillman United Methodist Church, which was established in the 1950s here in Smyrna, and was a thriving, vibrant church for a number of years with a strong mission and outreach program. But as a smaller church over the years, attendance began to decline, and they had reached a point where it was very difficult for them to keep the doors open. They approached us, and we started some conversations about what became a missional merger. Is there a way that we could join together with Smyrna First United Methodist so that programs and the legacy of Tillman could continue? And that's how Tillman House Resource Center was born. We merged in the spring, is May of 2018. I moved over here in September and started getting things organized and for the transfer. And we officially opened as Tillman House Resource Center in November of 2018. So we haven't been here 2 complete years. And yet we've been able, with just God's blessings, to build on the things we were doing at Smyrna First United Methodist and expand on them tremendously, and especially with education programming. In our housing programming, we were already doing some things, at Smyrna First, but this has just allowed us to do so much more. And it was a great way for the Tillman name to remain.
Yeah.
One thing we were just really concerned about was there were developers who would have loved to have had this land. And had that occurred, the church would have been torn down and housing would have been built here. And 10 years from now, people would not remember that Tillman even existed, which would have been a tragedy. So it's wonderful how it has worked out. But what we do at Tillman House, because we call it a resource center, it is the mission and outreach arm of Smyrna First United Methodist, but it is very much a community focused center. We look for partnerships. So we partner with MUST Ministries. We partner with Action Ministries. We have Food Security for America as a partner. We have just a number of partnerships. The Cobb Collaborative is housed here now, and it's an organization that helps coordinate all of the member nonprofits in Cobb County. And Cobb County has over 120 nonprofits. So it helps us communicate with other nonprofits, find out what people are doing, how we can form partnerships. And one of the things that we're really just so proud of was the Cliff Jordan Continuing Education Center, which we established after the death of Cliff Jordan in his honor. And we were just getting those things up and running when the virus hit.
That's right.
schools, closed. So we were forced to discontinue those for the time being. But we're very proud that, on July the 6th, we're going to open back up with social distancing and those things we have to do,
Right.
and begin to offer those classes, GED, ESL, financial literacy, to offer those classes to the community. Other things that we do, we have rental assistance, we have utility assistance for those in the Smyrna area. We have had a number of different food programs, some ongoing, some that were to meet specific needs. Again, we have counseling services. We have recovery groups that meet here. We have an after-school program for children at Green Acres Elementary School, which is one of those things we're hoping to be able to expand. So this is a busy place now.
So yeah, so one of the programs that you did actually over the past couple of months was part of the Support Smyrna, the Hot Meals program. Tell us a little bit about that.
We were approached by the mayor, and the mayor at that time was in contact with Atkins Park and Rusty Hamlin there, their executive chef, about how we could help meet a need for food insecurity and also allow them to use their resources, to help the community. So it was a city and restaurant and kind of faith-based combination, which is rare in the world today.
It is rare.
Come together. We started with 150 meals in the afternoons on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with Atkins Park and Tillman here at Tillman House. And we ran out of meals very quickly. So it was obvious that we needed to expand. So we added Zucca to the mix. We added Wade's restaurant to the mix. And we added one of our local caterers, the Bountiful Basket Catering Service, to the mix. So over a 2-week period, we went from 150 meals every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to 450 meals every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So
that's just amazing.
We not only had the Tillman site, but we also had a drive-through site at Jonquil Park on the east side of town. And then we also had a site at Chuck Camp Park on the west side of town. So we had 3 different locations. Between the 3, we were doing 1,350 meals a week. It was, again, the restaurants, they're the food experts. The city helped with fundraising. And then, we had sort of the logistical experience in working programs like this and having worked with MUST. So it was a partnership that was a blessing. We did over 9,000 meals in the course of the program.
It really does take a village, doesn't it?
It does. It absolutely does.
Because then you need volunteers to get the meals from the restaurant to these locations.
Right. And I need to mention 3 men in a truck. 3 men in a truck volunteered. They heard about the program and they volunteered to do the pickup and delivery for us. So here's another business that stepped forward and was providing service. So, that helped tremendously. They would pick up from the different sites and they would deliver to the different sites. It made everything flow much easier.
That is wonderful. Well, so what other programs besides the Cliff Jordan Education Center that's coming back? Do you have other programs that were put on hiatus because of what's going on right now that'll be coming back in the summer?
Our recovery programs, we have Alcoholics Anonymous, we have Al-Anon, which is for families of alcoholics. We have Narcotics Anonymous. We have 15 recovery groups that meet here literally just every day of the week. We pretty much have a recovery group that meets, some in the afternoon, some in the evenings. Those are gradually beginning. We're starting with the smaller groups first and working towards the larger groups. We're undergoing some renovations right now, so it's working out fairly well. By the time they get our fellowship hall done for the big groups, we'll be ready for them in a couple of weeks. So those are coming back. Our rental assistance, utility assistance has continued. We have a Saturday food box program, which has continued throughout the entire time. Basically, the Resource Center has stayed open during the virus. Some programming was postponed because of the situation, but our core of helping to feed people and providing assistance with housing issues, those core programs were able to continue. What we hope, one of the things we were going to do and still in the process is developing a community garden, but we were working it in conjunction with our after-school program. We have first, second, and third graders. We have 15 of them from Green Acres Elementary. This is a free program who we tutor and work with in other ways. In an after-school program, we were going to establish the garden with them and let them plant the initial vegetables and so forth, and that is part of their after-school programming. We also had just started when the virus hit and the schools closed, an organization called Fine Arts Matters, which is a nonprofit that works in the Cobb County schools providing fine arts education. Oh. It's drama, it's guitar lessons, it's piano, keyboarding lessons, and so forth. And of course, the parents pay for that in the schools, in the after-school program. Well, they approached us about providing that program for our kids at a very nominal fee, which we were able to cover. So they had just started teaching them the piano keyboarding skills when the virus hit. And that was just, this is opportunities for that most of these children would not have without, people and organizations that want to step forward and make a difference in the community. So we're hoping that as the schools figure out what they're going to do, if they end up back in class, we're hoping we can continue with that program and build on it. But with the community garden, after school was out, we were going to continue and expand that. And of course, that will be for the community, but primarily for clients of Tillman House who do not have access to fresh vegetables. Right. Many times it's a transportation problem. It just depends on where they live. And part of the Cliff Jordan in connection, with some of that was, cooking healthy on a budget was a class that we were offering. And, heck, it's something I could benefit from taking that class.
I think we all could, Alan, but I think you're right. I think that there's a lot of need for that.
Yeah. Some of the other things, our food box program is in conjunction with Action Ministries, and we do it on Saturdays because there are plenty of food pantries open during the week, but they're not open on Saturdays.
Oh, that makes sense.
So we've had to adapt it to a drive-through program, but we do 100 food boxes a month. And these food boxes contain enough food, in theory, to feed a family of 4 for a week. They can come once a month. Those that are seniors and are disabled, they can come every month, year round. For other individuals, we have it, they can come 4 times a year. So it can be 4 successive months. It can be however, but we do have to limit to 4 times a year. And again, we do that in conjunction with what other food pantries do. So we're aware of how people can who are food insecure, where we can refer them if they've used up their visits with us, where we can send them next, so that they have food access year round. Yeah, and we're doing 100 boxes a month, about 25 every Saturday.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. Well, I'm going to backtrack for a second. You mentioned school kids. Tell us a little bit about your history, your background.
Well, I'm one of these people, this is my second career.
Right.
And, most people are lucky in their life if they find one job that they love to do. I've been blessed to have had two careers. I started in 1978. I'm dating myself now. With the Cobb County school system. And I came to Campbell High School in Smyrna, and we were still on Atlanta Road where the middle school is now. And it was just going to be a temporary gig. My focus at the time was college football coaching, and I had just finished up as a graduate assistant. I had been advised, and it was great advice, to get my teaching certification, because in college football, there are only two types of coaches: those that have been fired and those that are going to get fired. They said, sometimes it's great to have that high school certification, so that in between those college jobs, if necessary, you can get a high school job. Well, I just finished as a graduate assistant, and came down here and interviewed for a job on a Thursday, was hired on Thursday afternoon, and back on Friday, packed everything up, and moved back to Smyrna, Georgia. That was in 1978. In 2010, 32 years later, I retired.
Short-time gig, right?
Short-time gig, and all at Campbell High School, all 32 years. I found a niche. I found something I loved to do. I found really what I was supposed to be doing. And that's kind of the story of what started as, just something that was going to be temporary. I found I loved teaching, not just the coaching, but the classroom teaching. And just blessed to work with great teachers and great administrators, and, coached football for 28 years.
Wow.
Also coached track and field for 14 years. I was the golf coach for several years, and that probably is a sin.
You should have stuck with football.
Yeah, well, with golfing, to get paid to teach kids to play golf, a lot of schools, the kids have their own professionals that teach them. At Campbell, we didn't have that really. Our kids, a lot of them were just learning to play golf, but I got to play a lot of free golf that way too. That's where I was getting a salary for being the golf coach, and I was getting to play free golf every day, which was kind of a perfect job. But anyway.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And I was the athletic director for 21 years at Campbell. So great career. Loved every minute of it. But in 2010, God was kind of pushing me that there were some other things he had in mind. And that's when I actually started working at the church part-time in 2006. I got out of football coaching in 2006 because my son was coming through the high school, and I just wanted to be a dad. I just wanted to watch him.
Oh, wonderful.
And not coaching. I was hard enough on him as it was, being his football coach. So I just, I sat in the stands or the press box, and, I could watch him be a dad.
I'm sure he appreciated that.
I am sure he appreciated that, But that's kind of the history, prior to Tillman House. And then, so I've been on staff part-time in 2006, joined the staff full-time in 2010. So for 14 years, I've been working here. Doesn't seem like it's that long. Just means you're old.
Time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Well, tell the viewers, well, what can we do? What can we do to help?
Well, we need volunteers for different programs. We use volunteers for the food box program. We use volunteers for the after school program. We have other avenues where you can volunteer. There are times when we need collections of things, especially hygiene items for hygiene kits. We do a lot of work with our transient population that's on the streets, and those are some things that are new that are coming for us. So, donations of those types of things, financial donations. We do all of this because we're an arm of the church. We rely on strictly, just donations for everything that we do here. And God has blessed us in that way, that people have supported us tremendously. So, you got volunteer hours, you've got collection of certain items we may need, and financial support.
Okay.
And to find where you fit best, and we need volunteers for the Cliff Jordan Continuing Education Center
Absolutely.
as well. So to find where you fit best, it's probably a good thing just to call us and see what we have available at the time. Where is our biggest need? And then see how we might be able to help each other in fulfilling that need.
Okay. Well, we will post the website. We'll post a phone number.
Yeah. And
So,
if they want to email me, it's, just A Nicely, Nicely. So just A Nicely at smyrnafumc.org, and that will get to me as well.
okay.
The person who really does all the work here is Mary Ann Edwards.
Mary Ann is wonderful.
She is my administrative assistant. I don't know how in the world I survived before I had one, but she is probably the initial person that you'll talk with if you call, or even if you email. And if she doesn't know it, I guarantee you I don't know it.
You guys make a great team.
Yeah, she can answer any question that people might have.
You guys are a great team.
Yeah. One other thing too, if people would like to take a tour and see what we do, we're open for that. Just call and make arrangements, and we'll give you an individual tour, a small group tour, talk about what we do, and let you actually look at the facility and how we do what we do.
That's a wonderful offer. That's great. So, Alan, I guess in closing, what is the one thing that you want people to know?
Yeah, Smyrna has become a very affluent place. So many times you look at all of the homes being built and everything and how Smyrna is growing, and you just assume that there isn't a lot of need there. But there is. One of our, we have plenty of jobs in Smyrna, but it's very difficult to afford to live here for some people. We don't have tremendous transportation system infrastructure to get you from place to place to get to those jobs. So there are areas in Smyrna, that where there's need, where people are food insecure, where they're struggling to make ends meet, where they're working 2 jobs. And of course, now with the virus, we've seen a lot of people who have lost those jobs, and we're just praying that they come back. But just realize the need is there. Last summer at the Smyrna or the MUST Summer Lunch, where we took things to the communities in need, in a 3-mile radius from Tillman, here on Concord Road, we did 17,000 lunches. 17,000 lunches.
That's shocking.
Yeah, and that tells you, the need is there. So Uh, we have great schools in Smyrna. Half of our elementary schools, though, the majority of the children there that go to those schools are on free and reduced lunch programs. So, there are needs here in Smyrna, and working together, like with the drive-through dinner program, working together, we can really address those needs and make this a wonderful place to live for everybody.
You're absolutely right. You guys are doing a wonderful thing there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Again, it's a blessing. I mean, that's what you discover, is when you get involved in these kinds of activities, you're the one that's blessed. We were kind of created to help one another and to love one another. And when you get in that habit, you realize how blessed your life really is.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for meeting with us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely.
I can talk all day long. Give me a platform, and I can run on and on about what we're doing.
Well, we sure appreciate it, and you're doing great things. So, hoping to get the word out and hoping your phone starts ringing.